Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Larkin, one half of the Steve and Mike Show. www.steveandmikeshow.com is up and running where you can hear such shows as you're about to hear tonight. This is another edition of On the Mic with Mike, and I am pleased to have on the lovely, the beautiful adult star that is Miss Marilyn White. Marilyn, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Mike. It is so awesome to be on with you, and I'm so excited to talk with you tonight.
The feeling is mutual, and we were talking about this before we came on air, folks. As for those that listen to this show, you know I love interviewing people in the music world, wrestling world, MMA world, whatever world it may be. But the adult industry is always a pleasure to interact with and interview such great talents as yourself. So for that, I have to first and foremost say thank you. So first and foremost, Marilyn, to get us started, what was it like? And first and foremost, talk about how you got into the adult entertainment industry.
I actually kind of fell into the industry. Interestingly enough, like I'd always kind of grown up like really enjoying and being in front of the camera. But I started like really getting into modeling back in about 2011. Originally tried to shoot for Suicide Girls, and that didn't work out. And then I just started like building on my portfolio, and I actually had SCORE reach out to me, and I, discussed going down there with them and doing the first shot, and it just kind of took off from there.
I have to say, first and foremost, you talk about Suicide Girls. So someone who has seen a lot of those magazines and I guess just diving into that realm, we got a lot of beautiful girls in that scene as well and get to see a lot of great modeling photos. And I have to say this, modeling as well, I look at it like this too as well. I know we'll start it off like this as well, but with the modeling front, I'll be honest with you, whether it be plus-size modeling in general, there's a lot of great and beautiful women out there that do their thing and really capture and have an immaculate photo. And I will say this, first and foremost, as far as you go, you encompass that as well.
Well, thank you. I really, really appreciate that. And that's kind of where, like, my passion originally started is I just feel like my body is a work of art. And kind of like when I really got into this, there wasn't a lot of people that I could really look up to as far as like women of my size anyway, especially like in the modeling world, so I just kind of wanted to be, one of the newer pioneers. Like, obviously, I know that there are other big women in the industry, that started to break out. But, like, I was 21 at the time, and, it just kind of was a new thing for me, and I didn't really have too many people to go off of. So I just kind of wanted to be that person, or at least try to be that person that other people could kind of, really think, oh, well, maybe I can do this too. Like, she's not skinny and, perfect, like most society kind of feels is the standard, and I wanted to just kind of bring a different look to the scene, I guess, or at least try to.
I gotta say I dig that, though, because, as a man growing up in the 90s, folks, I'm gonna be 28 years old next year, getting closer to 30. I still can't believe it. But, as a kid growing up in the 90s, Marilyn, I could attest to that. You have the likes of, your Naomi Campbells, you have the likes of your Tyra Banks, hell, taking it back to life-size, Lindsay Lohan, Don't Be Shy, be a star, Eve is great, hello, we'll sing the whole song. But I digress. I look at it like this. You got America's Next Top Model. You got a lot of beautiful people in the modeling game. You want to touch upon the plus-size thing. Look at the whole Ashley Graham. Ashley Graham is a beautiful woman doing her thing, and personally for me, I think it's great. And as a pro wrestling fan, this kind of ties into what we're referring to. Look at Nia Jax. Nia Jax is a beautiful woman. She was a great model and, great wrestler as well. So, there's avenues for the plus-size women. And I'll be honest with you, in my 28 years living on this planet Earth, I met and I've enjoyed a lot of great women's company. But I'll say this right now. I've always had a soft place in my heart for the big girls because I love the curves. I just love the confidence. I love what I like to call the voluptuosity factor. And those factors, encompass a lot of women, including yourself.
Absolutely. And no shame to skinny girls. Like, that is your body type. You are beautiful as well, and it's never about taking away from anybody else's beauty. We just want to show that we are beautiful too.
Of course. And I'll be honest with you. You know what it is, too? You look at the BBW category and the BBW market. I've always enjoyed that. And this is, again, pop culture. I know I'm nerdy with this, but hey, let's throw this out here. Family Matters. Family Matters, God rest her soul. Aunt Una was played by the one and only Donna Summer. She was, the aunt, and she wanted to look skinny. So they had the episode where Steve Urkel made her skinny. She got into the chamber or whatever it was, the transformation chamber, and she was really into like the minister, pastor, what have you, of the church. So he told her at the end, he's like, I love you the way you are. You're a BBW. And she goes, what's that? A big, beautiful woman. So even before the adult industry, that's how I figured out BBW. A little Family Matters, pop culture, people. It happens. TV actually reflects real life issues. So, but as far as that goes, you have to look at it, and I've told you this, beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art they are. My mother is one of my biggest influences. My grandmother, God rest her soul, is one of my biggest influences. So when you have strong women like that you're raised with and you're surrounded by, as well, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, that really, opens up your mind and gives you a great aspect and a perspective on how life and how, it should be.
Exactly. Totally. That's pretty much exactly it, and I just want to be one of those role models, for people in my life and maybe people in, other parts of the country, other parts of the world, whatever, just, I don't want to be famous, I just maybe want to make some kind of difference,
And also, I think with you, it's just, when we talk about the photo stuff, we have to talk about this first and foremost. The photos, girl cat photo, topless in the woods. We'll start with that one because first and foremost, you're in the woods. You're looking as only as you can look. They really came out great. I really did love looking at those photos, Marilyn. You look lovely.
I know. I have been dying to shoot with photos by Phelps for the last, I think, 6 years or more. He started talking to me right before I moved out of Pennsylvania to Oklahoma, and I was never able to get, together with him until I finally moved back here recently. And that way, we just finally were able to set it up, and it turned out as absolutely amazing as I thought it was going to be. He does the most fabulous work, and I am so excited to work more with him.
I gotta say, first and foremost as well, you want to talk about topless in the woods. I gotta say this, first and foremost, I did mention the key term voluptuosity factor. You had a great look, you had the great clothing, you had the great shot, and it really came out very immaculate. I always like to, again, this is pop culture. I know we're taking this around the pop culture realm, but look at the late, great Bob Ross. Bob Ross, right? Used to come home from school, bada boom, put on Channel 13, Channel 21, whatever it was, The Joy of Painting, right? If Bob Ross can, want to paint, he starts off painting the thing and he's like, oh yeah, I like that, and there we got some mountains, we got some oceans, we got some rivers, we got whatever, it's a masterpiece at the end, God rest his soul. But those photos as well, compared to The Joy of Painting, he took, the photographer took a lot of great work in making that photo immaculate and very presentable, making you look lovely and the lovely like that you did. So I got to give kudos where kudos are due.
Absolutely. I think that he and I worked very, very well together, and I really appreciate all the love for it. Like I said, I think they came out absolutely great, and it was such a fun thing because we just kind of pulled off to the side of the road and just found a spot to just kind of stop. It was right next to this road that it wasn't super well traveled, but there were some people kind of going up and down the street. So obviously, we kind of had to keep an eye on when we were finally going towards the topless shots, so that we didn't get caught. So I had to sit and tuck and, make sure that nobody saw a little bit more than they should have, families or whatever driving by, unfortunately.
You know a girl that can really give the Cool Whip. When they see me walking down the street, hey, yeah, I see, you got a duck and dodge, all right. You can just tell them you're dancing in the street. There be swinging, swaying, and records playing Dance with the Street. There we go. But no, I digress. I totally understand because you're trying to get those shots and you got to be on the lookout, eyes peeled, a little peripheral action. If I'm not if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha. All right. But hey, speaking of photos as well, I got to give credit to another one, the lovely Miss Aston Martin, Remy Martin, a little domination action. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I know. That set actually worked out by complete and utter accident. Aston brought this dark set along with her because she had really been formulating this idea in her head about having this like evil twin persona, to kind of be a dame, because her normal persona is more submissive. And I just happened to have brought like this cute little white teddy with me, so it just worked out so perfectly for her to be, dressed down in this dark outfit and me throwing my hair up in pigtails and throwing on this cute little white teddy and looking innocent. And it came out phenomenal, and we had so much fun.
You did, and I mean, we also got to see Aston's twin there, Remy, which first and foremost, I dug that too. We got to see another side of Aston and just her in a different light as well. It really was great from, front to back, laying on the bed. You ladies did your thing in that shoot.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, sure, repeat it. No, whether we got to see another side of Aston, whether it be, from the frontal, whether it be the back, whether it just be on the bed, it really came out for a great shoot.
I know, yeah. I mean, the whole space just wound up working so well for all of the shots that we really wanted. And, we just kind of like threw caution to the wind and just kind of, took some chances with some different shots, and Aston had a lot of really great ideas and positions that she wanted, and they really worked out well for us. So I really give props to her for that. Like, she really set a lot of that up, and it just turned out as wonderful as I think she was aiming for.
And I'll say this to you ladies, I think this is also kind of a common misconception. Excuse me, because when you look from the photos aspect or even the adult film aspect, there's a lot of great work that goes in behind the scenes a lot of people don't realize, you know what I'm saying? So whether it be for, like, we'll touch upon XL Girls, you got Plumper Pass coming up, these websites that bring you such great content for the fans and for the viewers. I mean, there's a lot of hard work going into said scene, said photo shoot. There's a lot of hard work that really goes into it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, if people think that this is just laying around and, just, I don't know, just having sex, like, that is really not what it's about. Like, it's personalized. Like, a lot of us, especially as content makers, like, we really spend a lot of time personalizing the things that we make for, specific people or for our fans, and in the adult industry, there's a lot of behind the scenes. There's a lot that goes into actually shooting the whole films, that a lot of people don't get to see, and it can just be, something as simple as just hanging out behind the scenes, just talking to the male talent, just talking about, whatever random thing while we're waiting for them to make sure that the shots look good. It's a whole different world that people just, I don't think really, really grasp.
And I think with you, and I'll say this again with the utmost sincerity and respect to you, Marilyn, I think you're a true pro in each and every photo, every single shoot that I see you do and that you post. I can tell you're having fun, and that really is what makes it all worth it.
I really appreciate that. Like, I really try to do exactly that with my, with all my content. Like, I really do enjoy doing what I do, and I really enjoy making other people happy. And if that's, whatever kind of happiness that may bring them, but I really just enjoy doing what I do, and I really am glad that it shows in all my work.
Also, I like how you just worded just on a sidebar there, whatever happiness that may give you, because on that side of things, which I know we'll start giggling like 7th graders in health class, but I mean, just to touch you on that for 1 second there, you also look at it like this, because when you look at a woman, you look at the eyes, you look at the heart, look at their mind, there's a lot of 3 key elements there, because we mentioned beauty, strength, and dominance, but you can tell in that woman's eyes, that woman's mind, that woman's heart, that you know that they're looking to create something wonderful, create something beautiful, and create something for said viewer, said what have you. And that's, again, what also makes it worth it, and that's what also makes it fun, and that's what also makes it great from your standpoint as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Miss Marilyn White as well, I'd like to touch upon, first and foremost, I was checking out your Instagram, which we'll plug at the end of this show. Saw your throwbacks of James kickstand. I gotta ask you, XL Girls, what was it like working with James?
James was amazing. He was actually my very first hardcore, and he was just a total gentleman throughout the whole process. Like, he really made it, not too awkward for me. Obviously this is my first time on camera actually with, a male talent. So there's a little bit of nerves there, make sure because I have to accommodate for where he's standing, and there's a lot of different things that go into it, obviously, like we discussed before. So, he made me feel so comfortable. He helped, show me different tricks and tips and things like that to, get the shots that we needed, and all that. And he was great to talk to, and, just a total professional the whole way through. And I really enjoyed shooting with him.
I think, and once again, I dug it. I mean, you two had, like I said, great scene. And also, what I've seen with you is I've seen a lot of photos. When you talk about your mini vids, your own vids, when you're going there, we touch upon the voluptuosity factor. We see your breasts. We see your booty, if you will. Doing your thing. Dare I say a whole lot of. We see the toys. We see a lot of fun on the only vids and the mini vids as well, Miss White.
Yeah, I mean, I try to really, try to make something for almost anyone. Like, I'm really just starting to get everything kind of set back up, because I did take a couple of years off here, but I am trying to build all that back up. So you guys will slowly see some more content being added as things, progress. I already have, several content shoots coming up, and obviously, as you mentioned, I am going to Plumper Pass at the end of the month, so there'll be a lot of great content coming up here soon.
Now, for you, how does that feel? Plumper Pass, again, great content, a lot of great website. How does it feel for you? You're gonna get that shot with Plumper Pass.
I'm really ecstatic, and that's, again, a shout out to Aston. Like, she really helped, reach out and kind of vouch for me, and, really, she also, really talked to me about Plumper Pass and, and their views and all that, and I think that they're a great company. I like what they do, so I'm really excited about that.
I have to say this to you as well. Again, we touch upon the great work. We mentioned X-Girls. We mentioned Plumper Pass. I mean, there's a lot of great websites out there, from your X-Hamsters, X-Videos, that we see a lot of streaming. We get to see a lot of great videos. Really, and as far as the adult entertainment industry goes, whether it be videos, whether it be categories, what have you, there really is something for everybody. So, I mean, I got to appreciate it on that front. And I also look at it from different fetish points of views, because I know, first and foremost, I want to touch upon, I know you did a urination vid, right, as well?
I did, yes, recently. It was actually my very first public one.
Okay. Well, you see, that's cool, too, because, I mean, here's the thing that's what makes us as people very unique. A lot of people are into different things. Some people like urination videos. Some people are into different sorts of fetishes. That really makes what makes people unique. It doesn't, I mean, some people may not be into it, but, you get some people that do, and I gotta say, there's really something for everybody.
Exactly that. And funnily enough, I actually did another fetish shoot several years ago as well. That wasn't quite as well known, but it is up on clips for sale. So that was fun. It was actually a lactation breast worship shoot.
Okay, first and foremost, I am familiar with those. And first and foremost, before anybody says anything, I know. Here's the thing. We're guys. We're not all perverts, but, we do our research. I'm just putting it out there before we all start having a laugh at vid here. It happens. We're familiar with these things. You go on some, what's this? And bada boom, we're introduced to it. So we've seen this, and I'll be honest with you. I've told this story. When I was oh my God, 13 or, I might have been 12 or 13, right? So picture this preteen going into teenhood puberty, right? First ever adult site I came across was a site, I don't even know if it's still in existence till today, Marilyn, but girlshuntinggirls.com. For those that remember that website, it was girls. They were in the van and they were picking girls on the side. Sometimes you see one-on-one, sometimes you see a threesome scene. But that was the nature of girlshuntinggirls.com. That was my first ever experience into the adult entertainment industry, I guess. And then you see from Naughty America, the Plumper Passes, the XL Girls. Again, something for everybody. But yes, I'm familiar to digressing from that story. But going on to, lactation, whether it be urination fetishes, some people like foot fetishes. And like you mentioned, clips for sale. There's a lot of customs that people do, and people buy them, people absorb them, they take it in. It's what they like. If it makes them feel good, whatever happiness, like you mentioned, whatever happiness that they may get fulfilled, it's something for everybody, man. And you're evoking emotions as well. There's something you can also put that. You're evoking a lot of emotions.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I aim for.
Of course, and now first and foremost, I have to say this to you: when you look at the adult entertainment industry, I wrote down there's BBW awards, there's the AVN awards, there's Exotica, which have a lot of great fetishes there at those things. There's AVN Con. There's so many great as well, like the Emmys and the Grammys and the Oscars of the adult entertainment industry that makes for a hell of a parties.
Yeah, and I've heard all about them, and I've really been like, obviously, I haven't been just yet. Exotica actually was here in New Jersey, close by. Just didn't have the chance to get out there with the late notice. I really wish I could have made it, but maybe next time. But I'm hoping to, maybe one of these days get to, AVN, the BBW Award, anything like that, because I just think it would be super cool just to experience just being there. Like, even if like I wouldn't even get nominated for anything, I think it would just be a cool experience to just be there and be in that mindset with all the people with similar mindsets.
Well, of course. I mean, I had this conversation when I had Ginger Lynn on the show. I mean, here's a woman that's been doing stuff in the 80s, which they called the golden age of porn. And then we see porn, go over the years with the 90s into the 2000s. And now, I mean, again, look at the 90s, just the start really of the internet. But then you get to see all these sites that you have now. So I look at it like this, again, the evolution of how the porn industry has. And I mean, we've seen the AVN Awards, and I think it's great that we have the BBW Awards because we have a crowd of great, beautiful women like yourself in that particular category. So I wanted to group all you lovely ladies together. And really, it really just shows just a lot of fun at these parties. You get to meet new people, and also this will possibly lead on to future scenes. There's a great interaction all in all.
Exactly. It's it looks like so much fun, and I hope to be able to, experience that someday here soon.
Well, I gotta say, you actually touched upon something that was very good in your verbiage. I wanted to ask you because you said you took a break from this, right? You took a break from the adult industry for a little bit. First and foremost, sometimes a break is what you need. You take a break, you cool down, and then you just come right back into it. And I think you're going to come back into it stronger and better than ever.
Exactly, and that's kind of my plan. Like I didn't expect for it to kind of blow up the way that it did when I, jumped back into it. But I'm really glad that it did. And a lot of that, like I said, it was big thanks to, James Phelps for him doing my photos and for Aston and all her help and helping me network. Like, it's been a crazy couple of months here since that. And I'm just ready for the future. Like, I'm really excited for it.
Well, here's the thing, Miss Marilyn White. Somebody was going on the internet and said, doggone, where's Marilyn White? What happened to Marilyn White? Then somebody comes across your photo on social media means, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what have you, social media, right? They say, oh my God, there's that face. It's kind of like Ronnie Matthews and Hey Arnold, taking back to pop culture. I saw your face and wow, that's what that is. And there you are. Now, see, you just made that person smile because, hey, Marilyn White's back in the game.
Exactly, and like I'm so glad to be that. Like I have had a couple of people reach out and say that they're really glad that I'm back in the game, and it just makes me feel good that even like a few years later, like people still recognize me and appreciate me enough to even reach out and say hey, thanks for coming back. Like, this is cool.
Again, like I said, we talk about evoking emotions and inspiring. I think you're going to do that whether for anybody, whether it be a guy or a gal that wants to get into the adult entertainment industry. I think you have that power. And to quote Spider-Man, yes, I know, we're going back to Nerdville, with great power comes great responsibility. And boom, here we are.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of your nerdom, we got to touch upon this because you did a post on your Twitter in your underwear. You were talking about PS1, Nintendo, Game Boy, and first and foremost, again, as a kid in the 90s, I had me a PS1. I had me some NBA Shootout back in the day. It's a shootout. We're going to give some more. It's a shootout. See, that brings me back to my days of prayer. Okay, I'm a wrestling fan, right? So I didn't really start playing wrestling until like PS2 and I got the Wii and stuff, right? But most of my games were wrestling and basketball games. And when you're shooting as Stephon Marbury, who on the time was in the Phoenix Suns, PS1, NBA Shootout, maybe even some mini golf, maybe even some racing, little Gran Turismo action for you. So yeah, so I appreciate the nerdum. Thank you for that post because that made me smile as a fellow nerd.
I'm really glad because I'm a super big nerd myself. Like, I was raised in the 90s as well. I just had this discussion with my mom the other day. I mean, I pretty much started on the original Nintendo, with her growing up and playing like Mortal Kombat and Donkey Kong, and then switching over to the Game Boy and all the Pokemon, yep, PS1, PS2. I mean, I've hit pretty much all of them, and I played a varying amount of games throughout my childhood and have a lot of different, fandoms besides, just playing video games. I actually I surprised myself, forgot about a model that I ordered. I wound up coming home to my my Mystique model that I ordered and was very happy with it. And so it looks awesome.
See, I can appreciate that, though, because I'll be honest with you. Like I mentioned, I only had, like, the PS1, then the PS2, and then the Wii, right? See, here's the thing as well. When you have friends that have, like, an Xbox or a Game Boy or a Nintendo, you learn using their stuff because you go over, you play some video games the whole nine. So it's like, I don't want to say I was cheap. Let's use another term. Let's say I was very frugal with my money. Times are tough. You got to save some money. Save it, put the money in the bank. So you go over to your friend's house, you have some fun, playing some Xbox, playing some Nintendo, and you get to learn stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. Back in the day, I had the Grand Theft Autos. I had the Jak and Daxters, for those that remember that, the Scorpion King games. Like I said, there's a lot of wrestling games that consumed my life and still do to this day. But hey, man, I mean, it's good times, and it was good games. And I'll be honest with you. You know what it is, too, and I've seen it from a lot of people. I think the nostalgia factor. Now, you're a 90s baby, so let me ask you this question. I'm a big fan of nostalgia. I think with me, there's some cool stuff on there, but I think just going back to my nostalgia brain there, it's just there's some stuff that really can't compete to what's out there today.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Like, I find myself, like, just really drawn back to just getting on the N64 and playing Mario Kart. Like, just sitting around with, three of your friends and just driving down the Rainbow Road. I totally agree with the nostalgia. Like, some of the games here recently, I just can't really get into, So I really like having, especially that now that they're really, like, bringing back a lot of those original systems, retro systems and all that. So I think that's really cool, and being able to kind of go back and play these old games in some fashion, like when we were kids. So it's really awesome.
Oh, of course. And I mean, hey, do-do-do-do-do-do, boom, get you some Mario going on there. So I get it.
Exactly.
Here's the thing, too, and this might be one of the most simplistic games for a PS1 here. I was in 4th grade, Rusey Kinney Elementary School, Long Island, New York, right? So I remember during break or recess, I think it was probably one of those recesses. Remember in school when you have those inside recesses because, it rains outside? It was one of those. I know this is like really good going back and just very detailed with this. But no, I mean, I just remember we had Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with it. Now, mind you, this was 2001. So this was like 2 years after Regis started hosting the show, right before Meredith Vieira and all these people started hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So this is the OG people. So I just remember playing that game during indoor recess, and I remember actually having that for the PS1 myself and playing Wheel of Fortune on the PS1 with Pat Sajak and Vanna White. Hello. Yes, I'd like to solve the puzzle. So, I mean, it's just the simplistic times like that, just, I guess, playing on PS1, if that makes sense, even though that's just kind of very generic. But, yeah, still playing Wheel of Fortune and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on the PS1.
And I totally get it, and I'm going to date myself even more here, but I was playing those same games on my computer.
Hot dog,
like,
man.
I was throwing it back to, Windows 97, whatever, throwing it back, playing on these old dial-ups, whatever. My mom had those games for us, and I lived on them.
Hey, I'll take it right back to you for the 2001 4th grade Mr. Enton's class there. Windows 98, so boom, boom, and boom. I hear you loud and clear. Now, as far as you go as well, and first and foremost, I got a couple final questions for you. And Miss Marilyn White, the Overture is here. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome to.
Awesome. Well, I would totally love to come back anytime you'll have me.
It's my pleasure. After all that, talk PS1, Nintendo, Game Boy. I do a pop culture show as well, so I'll even invite you on that. We'll have some fun and be all nerdy together. It's my pleasure.
Oh, that would be really awesome. I would love that.
Hey, I got your back, please. I've really been enjoying this, and I think it's great just to see a lot of great people in the industry like yourself, like Aston, and just a lot of great people. Because, like I mentioned, I'll be honest with you, I always will have, as a male who loves and respects women, got my mother and my grandmother mother to thank, and that this is true when I said that early in the show, and I'll reiterate my sentiments. I will always have a soft spot in my heart for the BBWs, the curves, the voluptuosity factor. Y'all are beautiful, and y'all are doing your thing.
Oh, great. I'm really glad for all the love.
Well, okay. First and foremost, you know what it is too. I think it's just it is what it is, and just we touched upon the confidence and the whole nine, and that's really what I appreciate about you because like I can tell by talking to you, you got that confidence, and I love it.
Well, thank you. I mean, I just try to be myself, and I've had a rough couple of years, and just trying to get back to being myself, and I'm back to being the strong person that I knew was there, just kind of hiding for those several years, and now I'm back and trying to be the best version of me, and I feel like that's just kind of showing through. So
One other pop culture reference I have to make. I have seen some photos where you did like a shoot where you kind of like the student look, and I'll say this to you right now, as a 7, 8 year old male. Britney Spears, Baby One More Time, looking as only as she can look in that schoolgirl. So I get it. It's the always the thing about male. We love to see women dressed in the schoolgirl or the student like outfits, and I thought you pulled that off very well.
yeah, I don't know what it is about that, but yeah, the college look really, I loved doing that shoot. That was literally my very, very, very first shoot. Like that was the very first one I did, and I had a whole lot of fun with it, and it came out so awesome. I still use some of those pics because my ass looks phenomenal in them, and I love it.
Okay, first and foremost, to quote Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore Ghost, ditto. Because you look good, you're feeling good, you're looking good. I'll say it. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of beautiful women out here, and you're one of them, Miss Marilyn White. And here's the thing about the student stuff. And I'm not going to speak for all guys because I'm not that douchey as a lot of guys. I try to say, like, I'm not like most guys. I'm a very nice guy. I'm very appreciative. But I will say this right now. It opens up the floodgates for, hey, I'd like to stay after class, It's about some lines, talk about student to teacher, hey? It makes for those lines, to come out, whether you see beautiful women like yourself don those student/teacher type of wardrobe. So it opens the floodgates. I'll apologize for all men on that, but it opens the floodgates for those lines.
Absolutely, and funnily enough, maybe now, coming back to it, nearly 10 years later, maybe I should switch roles and be the teacher this time.
Hey, man, get your ruler out there. I see you. I see you. It makes for a perfect scene.
I would think so.
Well, Miss Marilyn White, before I have you promote the social media, like I said, smiling ear to ear right now. So if you could give advice to any guy or gal that wants to pursue a career in the adult entertainment industry, whether you're looking like you in those photos, doing amazing scenes, being your nerdy and awesome self, what advice would you give to those who want to pursue a career in the adult entertainment industry?
To be honest, it would just be to be yourself and just kind of figure out where you feel comfortable. It's not always about, this label or that label. Just try to figure out who you are and who you want to be, even if you're not entirely sure on that. Just figure out kind of a direction you want to go and figure out how to get there. I mean, it's I don't know. It's hard to explain. Just like I said, kind of more or less be yourself and figure out, what works. Because obviously, if you're comfortable and you're happy with who you are and what you're doing, it's going to show.
First and foremost, I will say this beautifully said because I know you said it was a little hard to say, but I think what I can garner and gather from that is that, just be confident, be yourself, have fun. I think that's kind of great sentiments to live by.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'll be honest with you. I ask that question a lot because I think we like to inspire with this show. And I could tell from you that somebody is going to heed your words. And I think it's going to be beautiful when they get into the adult entertainment industry. And you've inspired a lot of generations and generations going on for years and years and years, to quote the late, great Barry White. So you were doing your thing. And I say, please adhere to Miss Marilyn White's words.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I hope you're right. Even if one person takes it, that's all that matters.
Exactly. If somebody's listening, if they do the senses, they listen, they learn, they absorb, they hear it, they take it in, if you will. I think that will do well for whatever person, one person, two person, three people, 10 people, 1,000,000 people, 1,000,000 people, to quote Dr. Evil. It'll happen. It's going to happen. So, Marilyn White, I'm going to say this before we close this out. I'm going to step back because ladies first, it's not just a Queen Latifah song. Please promote Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where we could find yourself on social media, as well as the only vids, the many vids. The floor is yours. Please go right ahead.
Absolutely. My Instagram is at xmarilyn, xwhitex, and my Twitter is at marilynxxx. My only vids is Marilyn White Official, and my many vids is also xmarilynxwhitex.manyvids.com.
All those links will be in the description below on soundcloud.com/MCLarkin92, which is linked to www.stephenmikeshow.com and Marilyn White as well. I'd like to give you the floor once more. Do you have any final words for your fans that have been supporting you since day one, since your hiatus, since you're now back into the fold? Do you have any final words for your fans?
Well, I appreciate every last one of you guys, and it's been awesome getting back, and I really hope to provide, a little bit of something for everybody, so I'm kind of excited to see where all of this goes.
Myself included. I'll be honest with you, I'm looking forward to taking that ride and supporting you and showing you some love and just seeing where you flourish, my friend.
Well, awesome. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, you are very welcome. First and foremost, my final words to you are wonderful, you're beautiful, and you are absolutely lovely. Marilyn White, I'd like to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So for Marilyn White, my name is Mike Larkin. This concludes another edition of On the Mic with Mike. Tune into the next episode, and I will talk with you all soon. Have a great night, everyone.